Is the recording actually working immediately this time?
You'll see. Yes.
Okay, wow, shit. Today is a special day. Fighting games are... not a whole lot of tremendous news.
There are
For the
some big
whole-
news, but not this news that you would have come across and actually looked at. I don't think.
Yeah, like, the theme of fighting games for this past week has been the fact that I've gotten into Fightcade.
Yeah. So yeah. I suppose we shall begin with the news.
We shall begin with the nukes.
Yes. Capcom announced that down plus up has to equal neutral. Fuck hitbox users. In the ass. Their exact wording.
Okay, okay, can you explain to me what the fuck the deal is with this?
Yes, so you know hitbox. Like the actual I mean the mechanic or whatever, how do I put this? You know the actual input device of the hitbox.
No stick.
Yes, stick with no stick. I'm saying this because Hitbox is the company who makes these input devices. So technically, that's not the name of the input device itself.
I've heard about this controversy and it being a big controversy, but I did not understand why.
Okay.
What annihilates the hitbox about up plus down being neutral?
So, you know how when you play a fighting game and you press multiple directional inputs at the same time and the game does something?
Yeah.
Okay, Hitbox has this thing. It has this separate board on it, as far as I know, where instead of sending the game both of the inputs and letting the game figure that shit out, they clean the inputs up so it's this one input, which you could whatchamacallit, you could abuse, allegedly, according to Capcom. And
how would you abuse it though? Is it like a way to charge while still, like, is it broken for Guile players because they can charge while starting a jump?
Something like that. But it's the opposite where they can start up a charge normally and then jump in the middle of that or something like that.
Yeah, you can jump mid-charge. Though there is enough time if you start the charge at the start of the jump. If you connect a jump in, then that gives you enough time to charge a flash kick with Guile anyways.
Yes, but look, I don't know why Capcom decided this is how things need to be. They just did. I can't really argue for them because
I guess this is
like this is.
I've never tried as Guile to do a empty jump into flash kick, but I guess this might counter that idea.
Maybe.
I don't know if you have enough time to do an instant flash kick after landing off a jump.
But so basically, the thing here is that once again, Hitbox has this thing where it cleans up the input before it sends it to the game, so the game can be the one to decide. And Hitbox's clean up method makes it so if you press up and down at the same time, then it sends an up input. Capcom said that they will not allow this. If your input device sends, or if your input device has to clean the input, it should send neutral. That's the one they will accept. If it does anything else, you're getting fucking banned.
I guess they're trying to get out ahead of a hypothetical exploit.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Which, I mean, good on them for that, because this isn't really... Like, the thing is, this is only really relevant to a small set of people.
Yeah.
Because how many even pro players are there that use the hitbox?
I mean,
I know for a while the hitbox was the talk of, like, oh my god, this changes everything, it breaks everything. But most people are still just going to use pad or a classic stick because it's what they're used to.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, it depends, because I think people used to switch to hitbox to play, like, Guile and other people like that because it's easier, but, like, whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure that on some level it is better for the, whole thing of keeping charge and all that, but I don't know how many people play charge characters at all,
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can't really discuss this issue because neither of us are affected in either of these fronts. Like, we're not high enough tier of player to be affected by this negatively or positively. We also don't own hitboxes, so
Yeah, and like the extent of where this affects me is that I would do it as a joke, messing around in some fighting games, see if like, man, what happens if I put up on the control stick on the left stick, but down on the D-pad? Funny. So this doesn't like me in particular. Like, no, this doesn't affect me at all.
yeah. Then,
I mean, it
yeah.
seems like a bit of a jump to ban somebody, but I don't know, you know.
I actually don't think they said they would ban the people. It would just be a DNF.
Ah, DNF. Well, that's different. That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah. Then, Black Dahlia released for schoolgirls.
You know, I have not been paying any attention to any of the DLC characters for Skullgirls.
Black Dahlia has been announced to be releasing for the past like half a year, and now she's out. Good for her.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all of my input.
Skullgirls has become. It seems to me like Skullgirls has probably become a perhaps toned down project ever since the whole Mike Z controversy.
Maybe.
Which, I mean, fair enough, especially considering they had to do that whole thing of taking the company out from underneath them.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that took a lot of money.
Probably.
If they had a bunch of money to spend, they probably wouldn't be making a Skullgirls DLCs. They'd probably be making a new game.
Yeah. Then, some guy I never heard about, called GamerB, posted info from the Project L banquet held by Riot in Japan. It basically said nothing aside from this. Like it was a I wanna say like 5 or 8 post long thing that they posted that pretty much sums up to Riot will please everyone. I am going to press X to doubt that.
Say this game. Is there anything about this game that does not smell like bullshit to you?
No.
Okay.
Like legitimately the just the it being tied to Riot is enough for me to just be interested. And then all of the what's the word I'm looking for? Like all of the people spreading the truth of Riot is leaving a worse and worse taste in my mouth in regards to it. Because, like, if it comes out and it is by a company that I don't like, and I just, I can just not interact with it. Like, basically, my thing against Project L is just like, the people who like it are annoying already, and if it succeeds, then it will probably have negative consequences for the games that I do like and I'm interested in. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I can just fucking ignore it.
A lot of it really isn't the game itself. A lot of it is the potential of it popularizing monetization schemes that you are not in favor of.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it's not so much a game design thing, so much as it is a business or finance thing.
Mostly, I mean, the game design, I disagree with the game design principles of this game too, but I don't have to play it. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I will complain about Guilty Gear Strive's game design because I wanted to play Guilty Gear Strive. I still want to play Guilty Gear Strive, I just can't because I don't enjoy it. I will not complain about this new game that's coming out from a technically new IP in the fighting game sphere, just because it also features similar or the same game design principles. Because then I didn't have any expectations. Like, I have nothing to compare Project L to that is in its own yard, unless you want to unless you want me to compare it to Valorant or that Hearthstone ripoff. Anyway. Yeah. Speaking of games with game design principles that make me not want to play them, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising. No. A new trailer.
I forgot this was a thing.
Yeah. Look, you want rollback, you need to buy it. You want the La Diva in rollback? You have to buy this.
Yep.
Then, Fighting EX Layer showed off version 3.0.
EX, right, 3. Fucking Eureka again. Is it gonna start being a thing of, okay, every goddamn April Fools expect something actually cool to come out from Eureka? What? Why? Why do you do this, Eureka?
Next year they'll announce Tekken Cross Street Fighter. It's not that they've just been moving to the project.
I would not be shocked. I'm not sure they have anyone at Bamco who does these things themselves anymore.
Well, they don't have Tekken Cross Street Fighter going. Harada allegedly is still just keeping it on the down low, as in it's not officially cancelled, but that's pretty much just to appease Harada. So if he can, he might.
Himself has repeatedly said the reason why it won't happen, which is that it would steal money from Street Fighter and Tekken both.
Yeah. But yeah, like just imagine they fucking announced that Oriko is making it. Why? Why not?
If you asked why, then you don't get it.
Yeah. But yeah, Street Fighter EX Layer version 3.0. I don't know if we saw anything like greatly different. I think I might have seen like Roman cancels or the like some sort of weird canceling mechanic that I don't think was in Fighting EX Layer so far. But and also Gogi is gone. I didn't see Gogi.
Yeah, Gogi is the only mechanical difference I noticed, other than obviously the fact that it's in 3D now, is the lack of Gogi. Though even with Gogi, that's not a guarantee that Gogi is gone. It may just be this is the beta version for a 3D Fexel, so let's put the Gogi in later.
Yeah.
Because the Gogi is the thing that sets Fexel apart from the other fighting games.
Well, the Gogi and the early 3D combo.
A little bit of that, yeah. The absurd sky high juggle combos.
Then SNK revealed Gunits, as well as a new picture of Gero. Gero 2.
And in that picture of Gero, they confirmed Andy and Joe Higashi.
And Terry, I think.
Weird, because in Gero 1, it seems to be that Andy and Joe are retired.
They're dead. Terry brought them back to life.
If this was Mortal Kombat, yes, that probably would be the answer. If this were Tekken, that would probably be the answer. But this being Gero, this being Fatal Fury, I imagine it's just that Andy finally knocked Mai up.
Probably.
I mean, one of the KOF games, isn't it the round start if you have Mai versus Andy, is Mai fakes pregnancy, and then she's like, haha, gotcha, Andy, and then Andy beats her up?
I think so.
And I gotta reiterate that again. That makes it clear. It's not that Andy doesn't think Mai's hot. Evidently, they do it. The issue is Andy's just a fucking non-committal douchebag. Which flips the entire dynamic from, oh, Mai's a creepy stalker of Andy, to, no, Andy's just a douchebag who refuses to put a ring on it but still wants to hit it.
Or are they gonna circle? Are they gonna circle this around to Hokuto Maru somehow being Andy's kid?
I mean, oh right, that little bastard.
Yeah,
the little bastard is Andy's student, isn't he?
No, he's Mai's.
Oh, he's Mai's.
Yeah, which is why it makes less sense that he has Andy's moves.
Well, it makes sense if Andy and Mai trained him together.
That's true.
But the Tyke is almost certainly not their kid, just because they're... Well, no, wait. I was about to say, there's not been enough time. No, wait, Rock's a teenager in Gero. Gero's like 10 years at least.
Yeah, that kid's it's about 10 years old, so...
Oh my god, Andy knocked Mai up.
Potentially.
Mr. Shiranui showed up at, Pops showed up at Andy's house with a shotgun, and he just cocked the shotgun, and Andy knew what he was in for.
Yeah.
I should have known this was coming. And Terry's in the background like, this is why I told you sex is lame, bro.
Yeah. You should troll people on the internet like I do.
There's such a contrast between either Terry is in a very happy relationship with Blue Mary, or alternatively, Terry is this perv asshole that gets beat up by women.
Yeah.
Depending on which version you choose to go with.
Terry is this perv asshole that gets SNK into trouble. Shoot.
Like, I love Terry, so I prefer the idea that him and Blue Mary are just in a happy relationship. Also, can I mention this? Like, with Street Fighter, there's such a fierce contrast of, like, Ken and Guile are married, but other than that, the Street Fighter cast is a bunch of fucking virgins, right?
Yeah.
The KOF cast, most of them hook up. Terry's with Blue Mary, Andy's more or less with Mai, Rio is with King.
And Kyoi's with Iori.
Exactly. Isn't Kyo's girlfriend actually a very important character? She just isn't a fighter because she's just a regular woman.
I don't remember, probably.
I want to say like SNK in their weird era of releasing a million KOF spin-offs, I want to say they released at one point a romance novel from the perspective of Kyo's girlfriend.
And then it was revealed that it was Miss X.
And I believe the lore is supposed to be that Kyo's girlfriend, probably now wife, is the breadwinner. Because since Kyo spent the entirety of his high school years fighting Rugal Bernstein, he actually had terrible grades, and so he can't get a good job.
Yeah. He's too busy killing God. He can't get a job.
He saved the world. Oh, boy.
But yeah, Gunitz will be a free DLC, just like Rugal.
Is K-Dash supposed to be Whip's sub?
Maybe.
Maxima likes to watch.
No, I feel like K-Dash is together with Kula.
No, absolutely not. I refuse that. Isn't Kula his sister?
I actually have no clue.
I am 99% certain that K-Dash and Kula are not even vaguely implied to be together. If they are, then that's terrible. Let me look it up.
I don't know. The cutscenes I see of them acting together implied stuff, but then at the same time, like I played most of the KOF games before I understood English, so I don't actually know the story context.
I'm looking it up.
Alright, and now we wait, I guess.
Very least, from what I'm reading, Whip calls Kula little sister.
That could just be her gimmick.
Apparently now Kula lives with K-Dash and Maxima.
Ah. I mean, she didn't seem like she had anywhere to go. I'm pretty sure her mom is like between dimensions or something. I don't actually know.
What? Her and K-Dash test tube babies?
But K-Dash is a clone. I have no clue for Kula. Like Kula, the stuff that I saw from Kula implied that she was like she was like an alien from another dimension or some stupid shit like that. But that's I don't think that's right.
a kidnapped child.
What about a kidnapped child?
Kula was kidnapped as a child and genetically modified to have ice powers.
Ah.
Whereas I guess K-Dash, okay. Okay, where did I think that her and Kula... Oh, Akula... hang on. Hang on. Okay. Okay, K-Dash was also... Okay, K-Dash is not a test tube baby. I don't know where I assumed that. K-Dash was also kidnapped as a child, and they they fused his DNA with Kyo's. Okay, and that caused him to grow up to look like Kyo, I guess.
I guess so.
Is the clone. K-Dash is not necessarily a clone so much as he is like a K... He's a Kyo hybrid, I guess, like a fucking lizard.
I guess so.
Whereas Kula does not have Kyo's DNA. She is just some other girl that got fused with ice powers.
Nests is wild.
That's a bit different from... I mean, the start is, Kyo, go kill that crazy tyrant Rugal. Then it starts to already get pretty crazy with the Orochi stuff.
Yeah. But yeah.
Kula insisted on their team participating in KOF 14 so she could get ice cream.
Nice.
K-Dash said please no, but she pulled them in anyways.
That checks out. So yeah. Then, Arc System Works' CEO doesn't want Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue to compete with each other. Says Igan. The most well trusted source, IGN. But yeah. So this is just further confirmation that Blaze Blue is dead. Really? In it.
Blaze Blue is in... we've been saying before, Blaze Blue is in a weird spot where its story is actually complete.
Yeah. I mean, Blaze Blue is in this weird spot where they won't come out and say it's done. But at the same time, the story is finished, and the guy whose pet project it was left the company. So...
K-Dash's page, Kula is listed as his adopted sister.
Okay.
Though this being Japan, that is not a guarantee that they aren't still love interests.
Yeah.
Okay, well now I'm going to look through her quotes.
Now let's see. There were reports that a new Street Fighter movie is coming. Now, whether or not this will be live action, I have no clue.
They announced it with Legendary. It will be live action.
All right. Can we get Van Damme back for Guile? Just droopy ass Van Damme.
If we could, I mean, if there's no one people would want back other than Raul Julia, who has of course passed away.
Yeah. This is a problem that we can fix with AI. Depressing thoughts, innit?
It doesn't really bother me that much as it does everybody else, but you knew that I was going to have that answer.
Yeah.
Like, there are some questions that you pitch, and it's like, I'm not catching that one.
But yeah, I don't know what they can do. Because, like... honestly, just thinking about it, what would they adapt? for Street Fighter? Is it just gonna be a more or less original story, considering that most Street Fighters follow the same structure?
I'm still looking over over KOF quotes here. Okay, it does look like there's nothing too suspect between K-Dash and Kula. It looks like it is just little sister for all intents and purposes.
All right, cool.
Okay, so with a Street Fighter movie, here's the thing. Everybody's saying, okay, Last of Us and Super Mario and Detective Pikachu have all proven that you can make a good video game, movie, or TV show that's faithful and all that. But the thing is, Mario and Detective Pikachu both are just make up your own new story because it doesn't really matter. You're not really adapting any big stories of your own. And Last of Us is a game that is very, very, very well built to be adapted into an episodic TV format. The majority of video games that have good stories have long stories. Long stories are better suited to television. At the same time, video games would require a lot. Video games tend to be, pretty fantastical and what usually would require a lot of big special effects budget, which TV doesn't get as much as movies do. So that's a big problem there. Street Fighter, though, I will go ahead and say, as much as we can say, hey, we're getting some good, accurate video game adaptations, Capcom has a long running history of seemingly being outright opposed to the idea of accurate video game adaptations. With Street Fighter, they consistently push away any kind of, not Street Fighter. With Resident Evil, they consistently push away anyone who wants to make an accurate adaptation. They want something that has nothing to do with the fucking games.
And then that was also Monster Hunter by the same guy.
By the same guy, exactly. Now, Legendary, so far as I know, is not a studio that would work with Paul W.S. Anderson, I think. There's like 8 million relevant Paul Andersons in film. And I think one of them is Paul Thomas Anderson, and he's directed several good movies, including the excellent There Will Be Blood. And there's Paul W.S. Anderson, who made one fantastic movie, or well, not fantastic, but one very good movie, which was Event Horizon, and then a whole bunch of shit movies. I don't think Paul W.S. Anderson is known to work with Legendary Studios. However, knowing Capcom and knowing Paul W.S. Anderson, we cannot exclude the possibility that they have started work on a Street Fighter by Paul W.S. Anderson starring Mila Jovovich as Cammy.
No. Mila Jovovich is Chun-Li.
I don't think they have the gall to go for that. I don't think they have the gall to go for Mila Jovovich in Yellowface.
So they're just gonna hire Jackie Chan to be Chun-Li again, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. And of course, Ryu would be there for only about 2 minutes in the movie and he'd die, right?
Yeah. They're gonna honor Jet Li for that one scene where Ryu dies, and then hard cut to Cammy.
Chun-Li will be Cammy's friend who helps her.
Yeah.
Guile is a dumb douchebag who sucks at fighting, but in the end, the others teach him the value of teamwork and how it means to be a badass woman.
Guile has a projectile fight where they're like he's fighting Bison and he's throwing sonic booms and Bison is throwing back the psycho balls that he has in Alpha and nothing else pretty much. I guess 5, but yeah. And then just hard cut to them crouching behind the same box.
Wait, here's the thing. I don't think Mila Jovovich has ever played a canon character in either Resident Evil or Monster Hunter.
Oh, right.
She would play a new character, right. Cammy would be the one who is her friend. Chun-Li would show up for a minute and then die.
Ryu isn't even in the story. Fuck him.
Ryu isn't in the story. I mean, I don't think Chris ever shows up in any of the fucking Resident Evil movies.
No, I believe I heard he shows up once and dies in the same scene. In like
something
3.
like that. Jill is there for like 2 movies, and she's supposed to be Mila Jovovich's friend, but eventually they kill her off. They make Wesker a vampire or something.
It's the only way he'll secure global domination. Global, whatever words. Anyway.
They would have Ken show up in this Street Fighter movie, and he's an evil rich guy who bankrolls Shadaloo and doesn't know Kung Fu or anything like that.
They're gonna have Ken, but it's gonna be portrayed by Logan Paul.
Dhalsim is a scientist again for some reason who doesn't fight.
Sure.
Paul W.S. Anderson watched the original Street Fighter movie for research, so he also makes sure to get the whole Charlie Nash's Blanca storyline through perfectly as well.
Yeah.
That one in particular cracks me up because I think Ted still thinks that's actually canon for what happened to Charlie Nash, at least somewhat.
Oh.
I could be wrong. Because Ted specifically thinks that Street Fighter 2 has a great story, and he gives a shit about that, but he doesn't know about any of the Street Fighter story outside of Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. But you know what this means? We could get a new Mortal Kombat style Street Fighter. Whatever that means.
No, I think there'd just be one nod to the movie in the games.
Most likely.
Same how, like, the only nod, there are two nods in the whole Resident Evil video game series to the movies. The first is that in Umbrella Chronicles, you get an extra little bit where Chris and Jill go into the Arklay Mountains or whatever. No, it was Europe. They go to mountains in Europe, and the Red Queen AI that's the bad guy of the movies is there in the mountains, and Chris and Jill just kill her right there. Whoop-de-fucking-do. And Resident Evil 4, Leon has the cartwheel through the lasers scene that's also in the first movie.
Ah.
God, what the... Can we stop talking about this?
Yes. Then
I'm just disgusted.
Yeah. Let me see if I can see the exact thing. So, Daisuke Ishwatori had an interview with IGN where he said that Strive is still too hard and has too high a bar of entry. He will fix this in the next Guilty Gear.
At the end of the day, he is chasing an impossible goal.
Yes.
The only way he can get to where he wants, where a perfectly new player can beat a player who has hundreds of hours in the game, is to make everything pure RNG. As long as there is a game, the person who is more experienced is going to have the advantage. Like, there is a reason that they have this philosophy for Mario Kart and Mario Party, and why they also had the philosophy for Smash Brothers Brawl. Of get rid of the competitiveness, introduce RNG elements that will abruptly give the person in the rear the advantage.
Yeah.
Like, what Ishwatari wants is for there to be a 50% chance when you get to 25% health for you to get a fucking blue shell.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I have a means that he could get the thing he wants. It would just be well heated for a good reason. When you get to 25% health, you go into insta-kill mode. It works like Guilty Gear 1.
Yeah.
Just once
that
you get
also
one...
wouldn't do it, but it would be funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing you're going to have to deal with here, Addy, is that the guy who gave you a lot of your favorite fighting games also has no intent of ever giving you a fighting game you want ever again.
Yeah. But yeah, like, you know, that also just, like, what was I gonna say? Like, I don't know their numbers, obviously. But considering how much I see people complain about it, it's kind of funny for him to say, "Oh, Guilty Gear Strive is still too hard," which is why there's not more people playing it, and not the netcode, or not the netcode itself, but you know the lobby system.
Yes, the lobby system is a fucking abortion. But at the end of the day, that won't be seen as the problem, because at the end of the day, the reason they have that abortion of a lobby system it's not on accident. It's an attempt at imitating trying to recreate the Japanese arcade atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the way they see it in Japan is that is the way to get new people in, to create that social atmosphere again. Whereas here in the West, we often have more of an idea of just get me to the fucking game. I didn't pay for a fucking social experience.
Yeah. Then the big news. Harada, in a fit of rage. That's not an exaggeration. In a fit of rage, Harada confirmed rollback and crossplay for Tekken 8.
Harada is the fucking worst. Dude, if I worked for the Bamco marketing department, I would ask every other day, okay, can I go over and strangle Harada today? No. Fuck, why would I show up to fucking work if Harada's gonna take all the big announcements and just put them on Twitter when he gets into a fucking argument with some troll? Somebody take the phone out of his goddamn hands.
Yeah.
Who's the other dev that... Wasn't it Harada that we were just a couple months ago saying stupid stuff on Twitter and said somebody take the phone out of his fucking hands?
I don't remember.
There's some other fighting game dev that's just like, God damn it, why does he keep doing this? Just put the phone down, man.
Harada has a parasocial relationship with Tekken. He should realize that Tekken is not his friend and she doesn't love him.
Good God.
So yeah, those are the big upgrade updates. I also saw something from Tekken 8 that I really liked and makes me feel conflicted, because generally the stuff that they talk about and the stuff that they showed for Tekken 8 doesn't blow me away. But I saw an exhibition match between Lars and Jin, and they had a special round start intro.
That's all it takes?
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, it's dumb, it's a small touch, but I've been missing it so much. Like,
for me, it's one of those things, like, it's cool to see in the compilation videos on YouTube, but I just mash start to get through it.
I don't, especially with Tekken there, from what I saw and what I heard, is that it's not just a baked-in thing of if you pick Lars and you pick Jin, they're gonna have the special round start animation. There's a chance that you will get the special round start animation, which keeps it fresh. I like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like at this point, really, like the stuff that they need to announce is just, you know, show off Lee, so I can see that he's Lee, and then go, hey, yeah, that's Lee. They need to show off Anna, so that I know that my sister has a reason to play the game. And then maybe. Because my sister is a ride or die Anna main.
It's been so long since I've really been into Tekken, I've forgotten who Anna is.
Nina's sister.
Anna is Nina's sister. Yes, there we go. This whole time I was stuck thinking of Lily, and I was like, that's not Anna. Those are very different characters.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, like the whole like combo bar and shit like that doesn't faze me that much, because if Tekken wants to be an anime fighter, fuck it. At this point, like I have seen Guilty Gear transform into a ground-based footsies fighting game series. At this point, I don't care. Give me shit that I'll enjoy and I'll buy it. Like, you know,
people turn red when they get to low health.
That's true, but you see, it's all about context. I hate Rage, and I hate the animations for Rage, because they were like the big thing that wasn't realistic in Tekken. If they go full force into anime bullshit, then Rage will not be out of place.
I suppose so.
Like it's a lot easier to go to justify rage to me if all of the anime stuff isn't just Devolution or Kazuya or the story, but it's everything of like, fuck it, Lars actually just summons the lightning. Why not? He doesn't do that, by the way. I didn't see him do that. But if he could, then you know.
Yeah. Well, those Mugen edits that people will make of Heihachi or Kazuya, right? And they always give them some crazy superpower bullshit to deal with the fact that they don't have any kind of zoning possibilities and get annihilated by anyone who does.
Yeah. Like if they introduce stuff like that to Tekken going forward, then whatever, I can deal with that. I can get used to that because, you know, once again, I've been through worse. And like you lose the reason that you played Tekken. I played Tekken because it was something different, and it was also something that wasn't just like, you know, it wasn't something that was stuck to the NES, which at the time, you know, Third Strike and Alpha and all that weren't on platforms that I could access. So like to me, Street Fighter was just a remake of it on NES. So Tekken was just here's what fighting games are right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you consider that, like, you know, and I keep saying it, like, I don't really have as deep ties to Tekken as I have like a lot of other fighting games, because the characters are fine, but I wouldn't like they're not the most memorable. Because like once again, Tekken was mostly grounded up to now,
Yeah.
but they keep going further and further into not being grounded. And you know, if once again that means that they're gonna get more interesting with their character designs. They're gonna get more interesting with their gameplay design. They're gonna have more flashy movesets, and I don't mean flashy as in spot monkey, but as in just give Lars a lightning strike for some reason, I guess. You know, I'm down for that. Like I played a lot of Street Fighter EX. I played a lot of what was the other game that was dumb bullshit like that? What was also 3D? I forget. Whatever. It was on the N64. But yeah, I played a lot of Street Fighter EX. I played a lot of like Capcom's early 3D fighting games. I don't mind 3D fighting games being anime. In fact, it's the default, if I need anything for me. So if Tekken just wants to channel Plasma Sword, that's fine. But yeah, I believe that is all of the news. I'm gonna take a look, but that is all of the stuff that I've saved, at least. So, in the meanwhile, you want to talk about Fightcade?
The Fightcade. So, in the meantime, between this Fighting Games R and the very last one 2 weeks ago, I finally took the dive on Fightcade, and it was always something that I was, you know, curious about. But hang on. Yeah, okay, there we go. It was always something that I was curious about, but had never taken the leap on because I wasn't for sure how it worked. I was a little bit confused. But I finally got around to it, and my God, it is amazing. So, what I have been putting time into is a mixture of games, and it has just been a lot of fun. Mortal Kombat 1, that is a janky old game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All of the classic Mortal Kombats are. I went back and gave a look to Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3, and unless my input is delayed for some reason while playing locally, then it honestly, Mortal Kombat never changed. It feels like I'm inputting a move and then eventually it comes out.
It is crazy how it's very slow. It's very slow, you know?
Yeah.
NetherRealm has always been big on large startup, I guess. the difference in speed is incredible, really, between Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. Because Mortal Kombat 1 is really, really fucking slow. Nonetheless, yeah, Mortal Kombat 1, by the way, it's funny the concept. Like, the Mortal Kombat AI is always a little bit prescient in all the classic games, but there is a tremendous jump between Mortal Kombat 1 where I can get to Kintaro. To Mortal Kombat 2, or did I say Kintaro? I meant Goro. Whatever. Mortal Kombat 2, I can't get past the second stage because the second stage is Kitana, and Kitana, for whatever reason, is a command grab character.
Yeah.
Really, she plays like one and just constantly throws you, which is incredible considering that it's Mortal Kombat. It's classic Mortal Kombat, so it's context throws. Either which way, yeah, it's been funny trying that. I put a little bit of time into Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but I have a feeling you and I will be talking a lot more about that particular game series in the future.
Yeah.
And so I went back to the roots of the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Had to go back.
I thought you meant you played karate.
No, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, I'd sooner karate chop myself.
You've been loving Street Fighter 1 for the entire 2 weeks.
Good God. No, I went back to X-Men, Children of the Atom.
Yes, and you played with the best X-Men, Akuma.
No, because you have to do a fucking rain dance to play as Akuma.
As is tradition.
Which I forgot. X-Men Children of the Atom. Akuma in X-Men Children of the Atom, I kind of figured would be Alpha Akuma because the X-Men sprites look like they'd fit into Alpha. No. It's very blatantly Street Fighter 2 Akuma with the ugly, kind of vaguely realistic Street Fighter 2 sprite style before they took on the animated style in Alpha.
Yeah.
So everyone else, all the, X-Men characters look so much better and more fluidly animated and not weird shader people compared to Akuma. It's just funny. Which apparently I read about it, and I didn't get to play Akuma, but I read about it. Apparently, X-Men Children of the Atom was actually where a lot of Akuma's more iconic moves were introduced.
Ah.
Either which way, that's a fun game to mess around with just because it's like from the early, experimental era of fighting games. So there's some stuff they just didn't know yet, or some stuff that wasn't really, it was really only built for playing against the AI, making stupid choices, or only really useful against noobs. Like, a lot of Colossus's gameplay is really built around, he has two special moves, but one's a fake command grab, not a real one, a fake command grab. And the other, admittedly, is actually a really good armored charge move. But a lot of Colossus's gameplay, I'm sure at the pro level of Children of the Atom, it's a little bit more complicated than this. But a lot of Colossus's gameplay is built around not having command grabs, but just particularly stronger context grabs. And context grabs are really hard to do intentionally, at least for me.
They get easier the more you do them.
I suppose so. And also, ground pursuit attacks, which, boy, it's easy to forget that was a thing with Capcom for a little bit after Street Fighter 2, because they did the same thing with Darkstalkers. It's funny to see all that.
Yeah.
And boy, some characters in that game just feel a lot less intricately designed. Like, Wolverine and Cyclops feel great. Storm is Storm. She doesn't really change. But then, like I said, Colossus kind of feels like he's not lacking a bit. Iceman, I don't get it. What the gimmick is with Iceman?
Iceman is the best zoner. Well, no, best is not true because Magneto exists, but Iceman is the most annoying zoner.
Hang on, in Marvel vs. Capcom or in Children of the Atom?
Both. He plays similarly in both, if memory serves.
Because from what I was looking at and from what I was reading, Marvel vs. Capcom, even though Magneto has the notorious, beam attack, which comes out absurdly quickly, other than that, Magneto in Marvel 2 is considered a rushdown character because of his 8-way dash and the fact that his grounded dash is full screen. And he has really good air buttons.
Yeah. The thing with
again,
Iceman,
I guess Magneto's just really good for everything.
Yeah. The thing with Iceman, yeah, go ahead.
So I did, in my time messing with Marvel 2, like I said, I don't want to talk about Marvel 2 so much because we'll be talking about it more in the future. But with Marvel 2, I did finally look into, okay, trying this game out, I want to find out why are the 4 kings so good? Why are the 4 pillars of Marvel 2 so good, right?
Yeah.
What is it about them that makes them magic for so many people? And the answer was, okay, so Storm is a really well-rounded character. Sentinel is a really strong zoner who is terrible up close unless you use the fly canceling glitches associated, at which point he's just kind of good but not great. Magneto is a okay zoner but a monstrous rushdown guy. Cable is actually kind of shit except for the fact that he has a 0-frame super.
Yeah.
Cable is apparently the ultimate battery character of just don't tag him fucking in until you get some meter, because otherwise he's kind of shit. Because he has really strong zoning capabilities, but in a game with such ridiculous movement as Marvel 2, being a strong zoner in the way Cable is, where he gets fast zoning buttons, is not that impressive because, like half the fucking cast can 8-way dash their way into your ass.
Yeah.
Sentinel's a little more impressive with his, multitude of normals that have absurdly long range. My God, Sentinel's normals have the most absurd range in every fucking game, don't they?
Yeah.
And add on top of that the Sentinel Force, which is oppressive enough, and then of course notoriously Super Sentinel Force, which is one of the strongest zoning tools in any fighting game ever.
Yeah, like that's the reason that I'm still scared of Sentinel in Marvel 3. Now you know why.
Well, it's like, okay, so Cable didn't make the jump from 2 to 3. Storm and Magneto did, and they're both still good, but not quite the gods they were in 2. Sentinel, though, is still Sentinel.
Yep.
Do you remember one of my favorite pictures I've ever seen? Apparently, this is a real problem with Marvel 3's online back when it was more relevant. But someone made a edit cover where they replaced every single character on the cover of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds. They replaced them all with Sentinels. So it's just this big compilation cover of 800 different Sentinels doing different poses and looking dramatic. And then the title has been changed to Sentinel vs. Sentinel 3 Fate of Two Sentinels.
Nice.
I mean, is not the pretty well standard Marvel 3 team for everybody usually... Hang on, it's Jean Grey, Morrigan, and Sentinel are all considered great, right?
I think so.
Which Jean Grey is the fucking Cable of Marvel 3.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, she's garbage unless she has meter, right?
Jean Grey is the Cable in that, oh no, I have to play as Jean Grey, this sucks. Wait, I have meter. Alright, Phoenix time.
Please kill me, urgently. Yeah. Okay. Cable is actually fun to play in Marvel 2. You feel dirty playing him, though, because he feels like a NetherRealm zoner. I said that when we played.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my god, just gun zoning everywhere. Why?
Yeah, but then, like, the thing with Marvel's Capcom 2, which you've learned, and, we've said before as well, is that, like, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, yes, there are the 4 kings. Everyone else is also broken. It's just the 4 kings are broken better. But... like, you experienced Captain Commando, and you saw that even though I haven't played Captain Commando in like 10 years, Captain Commando is still Captain fucking Commando, isn't he?
Yeah. Geef, it's gonna take a while for me to figure out how Geef works in Marvel 2, because it throws so much of it goes against his entire game plan. But it was nice that if you throw any rushdown character against Geef, he can still just say, nah, actually, you rush down me, you get pile drive. That's just how it works, son.
Yeah.
It's nice just having an immediate answer to Magneto of, no, fuck off, go to the other side of the screen and start throwing beams, because you're not going to win this fight, pal. It helps if you've got good defense, though.
Yes.
Oh, right. What was the other thing? Isn't Sentinel also really broken because one of his moves has a fucked up hitbox that's unblockable?
I don't know.
I want to say Sentinel's one of the, 3 characters in the game. I want to say him, Dalsim, and somebody else have a weird normal that hits twice. And if you block the first hit, then you'll block the second hit. But if the first hit does not connect at all, if the first hit misses, but the second hit doesn't, the second hit is unblockable.
Uh-huh.
So there's an entire technique of deliberately snapbacking your opponent and starting that normal with the perfect timing that the first one is guaranteed to whiff, but the second hit will hit the person just as it gets tagged in. So it's a guaranteed unblockable if you get a snapback off first.
Wow.
Yeah. And Dulcim's not really considered that good in Marvel 2, is he?
I don't know.
Because there's the 4 pillars, then Cyclops, Iron Man, and Captain Commando. Cyclops and Iron Man are both considered fantastic characters, but they're just short of being in the 4 gods. And then Captain Commando is not really very good by himself, but he has such a monstrous assist that people consider him a viable pick as well, just to have him as an assist, right?
Yeah. And then there's Surfbot.
I also heard that apparently the specific team up, Doctor Doom and Strider specifically as a team, apparently you put them on either of them individually on another team, they're not really anything special. But Doom and Strider specifically, those two as a team, apparently there is something horribly broken about.
Oh yes. I know what this is. I didn't play this team. I played Strider, and I've also faced Doom enough to know. But so Doom has a super where he fires the finger lasers constantly. Strider has a super where he calls a fuck ton of animals. Doom covers the sky. Strider covers the ground.
Oh no! Okay, you do team hyper combo. I see. That's funny.
That's why you press the fuck you button.
Right. Okay. In a game that's very focused on if you're blocking, then you're in trouble. You just don't want to get hit at all, even if it's something you successfully block. In a game that's built around that, yeah, I can see where the entire screen being a hitbox could be pretty oppressive. Man, by the way, popping in, Doom was one of the first guys I popped in, because in Marvel 3, Doom was my guy. And the sheer horror I felt upon finding out Doom doesn't have hidden missiles in Marvel 2. They added that in Marvel 3.
Yeah.
My God, I flew back in my seat. No!
You have to rely on finger lasers, like your grandpa used to.
Finger lasers and, of course, Grav Shield.
Yeah.
That one's the classic, but I always forget about it for some reason. Well, of course, foot dive. If you're playing Doom, you gotta add in some foot dives.
Like, I remember hating Doom, fighting against the AI back in the day, because he would just do nothing but foot dive and finger lasers. And I couldn't block it.
Or what about the stupid jump pistol?
Yeah.
The jump pistol feels way better in Marvel 2 than it is in Marvel 3. In Marvel 3, it's kind of stinky.
But yeah, we will also have to play Marvel 1 at one point, once I find a version that has the cast that I remember. Because I remember playing with the comedian guy and all that. I haven't found that yet. Yeah.
Back when half the cast was assist only.
Yeah. But yeah, Marvel 1 is largely Marvel 2. Like you can clearly see where they went a look and went, okay, actually we'll just keep this same game and then just put in more people as playable characters. Because Captain Commando plays exactly the same, for example, between the two games. So yeah.
And of course, there's that entire lineage going back of, there's X-Men versus Street Fighter. There's Marvel versus Street Fighter. There's Marvel Superheroes.
Yeah.
And Marvel Superheroes has the only infinite stage in Capcom history. It's like Tekken style. There is no wall.
Yeah.
Don't forget Avengers War of the Gyms.
Ooh.
My God, yeah, that's one. If there's a stinky one we need to hit with pink here, Justice League Task Force is pretty up there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple stinky ones that will need to hit with pink. Hokuto no Ken. That was
Oh God, well, Hokuto. See, a lot of the stinky ones are one-offs. Hokuto no Ken, I could see us coming back to a few times.
that depends on how fun the game is otherwise. Cause like the dribbling combo is funny, and like if one of us can actually pull it off, then that would be really really funny. But at the same time, if the gameplay is actually fun, then potentially, I don't know. I'm purposefully not playing Hokuto no Ken, so that I will go in with virgin eyes, virgin fingers, I guess. Is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and anything else that you want to hit up about Fightcade?
Oh boy, there's too much to talk about, so I just won't. Oh, you know what? I'll say WrestleFest, or excuse me, WrestleMania, WWF WrestleMania. That is a really, really fun, goofy wrestling fighting game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I played the arcade version, so I didn't get to see Vader's gigantic ass motion captured by Pat's mother.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I saw what I wanted to see, which was Razor Ramon literally turning his arms into swords like the T-1000.
That's just a thing he did.
Yeah. I remember that being the finish to WrestleMania 10. It was he got sick of Shawn, kept climbing the ladders, so he turned one arm to a razor blade and he cut the ladder in half. Then Shawn fell, and Razor turned his other arm into a razor and he just cut Shawn in half, and there was blood everywhere. But it was okay because Shawn went back to medical facility.
Yeah, Shawn found God after this. It was okay. Took him like 20 years, but you know.
Now, if Shawn had called it a hospital instead of a medical facility, then he'd have been in trouble.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess
all right.
I looked for I looked for topics and I found one, but I lost it somehow, which is great. So anyway, I guess I'll hit up Fightcade on my end then. I took this opportunity to fuck around with some games that I haven't played in a while. Plasma Sword, obviously.
Yeah.
Plasma Sword. Do you want me to go into gameplay details for Plasma Sword, or should we treat those as spoilers? Because I'm fine with either.
Hold off until the day we play the game.
Okay. Because yeah, I found out things about Plasma Sword that make it very interesting and very weird for Capcom and just overall. Like, it's other games have worked similarly, but not by Capcom, I don't think.
Okay.
And that's all I'll say about it then.
Okay.
Then I played JoJo's Heritage for the Future. And after all of this time, I was like, boy, I don't know who to play. I don't remember any of these characters. I remember playing Whole Horse, but there's no way I'm gonna be any like decent with Whole Horse. Because like I remember playing Whole Horse only using his normals because I couldn't figure out how the bullet stuff worked then. I'm gonna start figuring it out now. Whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I looked at the roster. I tried the match with Jotaro, didn't work. Then I tried Joseph, and that clicked. So I guess I'm a Joseph main, like in every other fucking JoJo game.
Yeah.
But yeah, like his gameplay design is weird. He instead of a proper stand like everyone else, he has a utility stand, which means that in this game he can switch between long range and short range attacks.
Nice.
Yeah. And like the long range attacks aren't that long range. You just get a grab out of them, or out of the thing. You get a mix up of a grab that you can then get some damage off of, but that's it. The game is a lot of fun. And I don't know really what else to say. Yeah, Heritage for the Future is genuinely the best JoJo fighting game that's been made as of yet.
All right.
All-Star Battle R is very close. Like, well, All-Star Battle R has a lot of send-ups to Heritage for the Future, and you can see the effort in trying to replicate some parts of Heritage for the Future, but CyberConnect are still CyberConnect. Like, it's still the best CyberConnect fighting game that they've made.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad game. Like, I think if you bought it, then we could still have fun, especially since it came out later, so it has an updated cast. And that doesn't feature Alice, which you'll get eventually. But yeah, otherwise, Heritage for the Future is a lot more of a proper fighter, which makes sense because it was made by Capcom during the time when Capcom made a lot of good fighting games.
Yes.
Then let's see. What else? Because I played a lot of similar things. I played a bit of Third Strike. Third Strike runs faster than I remember. I also found a rebalance that I thought was the one, because I saw a fan rebalance of Third Strike that made it so it was more combo heavy. And like you could do Tekken juggle combos in Third Strike. And I thought it was that because they had similar names. It wasn't the one that I found, but
Yeah.
Wish I could find that one because it seemed interesting, if nothing else. Let's see. I tried Alpha 3 Upper. It is still Alpha 3. That's my opinion.
I have Alpha 3 Upper on there, do they?
They do. It's
really?
It's under 03 Upper, but yeah.
Oh, of course it's under 03 Upper. What was I thinking? What the fuck? I've always wanted to try 03 Upper. I've always wanted to try those versions of those characters. Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that later.
And then let's see. What was the other big one? I played a bit of Darkstalkers. My Gallon is better. 3, I think. It's Vampire Savior.
Three.
What?
Which version of 3?
Let me boot up Fightcade and I can tell you.
Because there are 4 different versions of Darkstalkers 3, all of which have different rosters.
The one with Gallon.
That's not that helpful.
I figured.
He's there for 3 out of the 4 versions, I believe. Gallon is John Talbane in Japan, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. 3 out of the 4 versions of Darkstalkers 3 have him.
Nice.
So the only one we can confirm is you did not play Vampire Hunter 2. But you could have either played Vampire Savior 2, or Darkstalkers 3. Which you would think Vampire Savior 2 would be the superior version, but no, Darkstalkers 3 is. Darkstalkers 3 was the home port. So get this, okay. So, in Japan and America, okay, the first 2 Darkstalkers games had different names in America and Japan.
Yeah.
The original is called just simply Vampire over in Japan. Here, it was called Darkstalkers: The Night Warriors. Then they released a sequel. In the States, they called it Night Warriors: The Darkstalkers. Okay, no, they called it Night Warriors: The Darkstalkers Revenge, but it's still funny that they just inverted the title, more or less. In Japan, it's called Vampire Hunter. And then the third game was released both in the States and Japan as Vampire Savior. It was not called Darkstalkers here. In Japan, they then released 2 extra versions. Vampire Hunter 2, which was built to imitate the mechanics and use the same stages of music and roster of Vampire Hunter 1, but with just a couple extra additions from Vampire Savior. And then they released Vampire Savior 2 around the same time as Vampire Hunter 2, which featured a weird, fucked up mixture roster where they... Okay. So, this is as confusing as possible. And if you are confused, then congratulations, so am I, and I understand it, but I'm still confused. So, there's the classic Vampire cast. Morrigan, Dimitri, Sasquatch, John Talbane, Bijamon, Anakaris, you get the idea. And there was 2 unplayable bosses. There was Huitzil and there was Pyron. Huitzil was the Mayan robot. Pyron is the fiery alien. Then they came out with Vampire Hunter. Vampire Hunter was pretty well the new challengers. It made Huitzil and Pyron playable and balanced them for actual multiplayer instead of just being boss characters. And it added Donovan Bane, who is the Buddhist monk who is a vampire, but he keeps his vampirism under control through meditation, and Xianko, who you know who she is, Chinese vampire chick. Okay, then they come out with Vampire Savior. Vampire Savior gets rid of Huitzil, gets rid of Pyron, gets rid of Donovan Bane. So it keeps the classic vampire cast plus Xianko, and then adds QB, BB Hood, Jeddah, and Lilith. And then they released Vampire Hunter 2, which gets rid of the new characters. QB, Lilith, BB Hood, and Jeddah are all gone, and they brought back Pyron, Huitzil, and Donovan. Now, the really confusing thing is they traded out 4 characters for 3. And there is explicitly just an empty space, an empty slot on the character select menu where Jeddah used to be.
Nice.
Like, it is honestly just a gray slot, and it's a slot. You can see it's a character slot. It's just like the portrait's been left blank. And then they made Vampire Savior 2 for people who wanted to still keep Huitzil, Pyron, and Donovan Bane, but also wanted to have the new characters from Vampire Savior. So QB, BB Hood, Lilith, and Jeddah. So they did not make a super version that featured all the characters. No. They just took out John Talbane, Sasquatch, and I think Bishamon, maybe? No, Albuth, Rikuo, Fishman, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
So, fuck you, John Talbane, Sasquatch, and Fishman mains. And then finally, after all this hubbub, they release a home port for PS1 and Dreamcast called simply Darkstalkers 3 that actually features the ultimate roster featuring everyone, including the hidden secret characters, Shadow and Puppet, I believe. Neither of whom are real characters. For all intents and purposes, they were the first instance of Street Fighter doing what they did with 11 in Street Fighter 5. Okay, it's Mokujin, right? Nonetheless, Darkstalkers 3 is the one to go with, I believe, because I believe it does not have any particular technical issues, and more significantly, it has everyone, so nobody gets to miss their favorite character.
But yeah, I played Vampire Savior, the Lord of Vampire. Okay,
you played Vampire Savior. So the one you were playing is missing Huitzil, Pyron, and Donovan. The one that has everybody is Darkstalkers 3 on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I believe. Actually, no, it's not called that. Let me pull up my Fightcade, because I have it here. And it's actually named something really weird in Japan. Because obviously in Japan, it's never been called Darkstalkers. That is an American exclusive name. In Japan, it is not called Darkstalkers 3. It is called Vampire Chronicle, parenthesis, for matching service. Which apparently is a very clunky translation of multiplayer. Because it was one of the very, very first fighting games to get online multiplayer.
I see.
And it was terrible online multiplayer, but nonetheless, it was there.
Yeah, I mean, I booted up CVS2 and it was like online. And I looked at that and I went, no.
If you have Fightcade, they have not really yet begun to properly port forward the PS1 games. The PS1 bay is open for them to make some PS1 games in Fightcade, but they have not yet started the process, it seems. So, given that we cannot get that version of Darkstalkers 3, the version to go with is Vampire Chronicle for matching service.
Yeah.
Like, there we go.
I said this off recording, but I will say it on recording too, because the more I say it, eventually it will become true, I guess. But with PlayStation support being added to Fightcade, I hope that we can get Digimon Rumble Arena, because I need to know. It's one of those things where, like, I don't want to say that the game is good, because I don't actually remember. I want to play it again.
Yeah.
And then eventually I'm hoping for PS2 compatibility so we can get Basara Cross. And fucking Solitaire Battle Resonance, oh boy.
Yeah.
Like the PS2 has a lot of fighting games that are of lesser quality, is the nice way to put it. That
Yeah.
they can that would nonetheless be a lot of fun to record at least once, because like there's I can assure you there is one Inuyasha game and it plays the same way that all 8 of the Bleach fighting games that were on PS2 do. I don't know why there were 8 fighting games for Bleach on PS2. Money, I'm gonna wager.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has also 2 other separate Inuyasha fighting games, one for the PS1 and one for the PS2. They have the same name but play differently. Like, weird tie-in anime fighting games are a thing that I looked into a lot growing up. Growing up as a weeb.
Yeah.
And like, there's a lot of untapped market on the PS2. Just the PS2 itself, where like we could have months and months and months of nothing but just doing 1-hour sessions of janky PS2 fighting games and not be through the PS2 in a year, probably. And like, that's not even giving them a long time, mind you. It's just an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I remember growing up, there was one game I really loved that was a Billy and Mandy, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Power Stone.
Ah, yeah. I didn't even think of arena fighters, like, or proto-arena fighters, like Power Stone, rather. Holy shit. Because, like, just think about the Smash clones. TMNT Smash Up.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the Shrek. Shrek.
Yeah, I was about to say, hang on. The TMNT Smash Up was actually a platform fighter, not a arena fighter.
I said Smash clones, but yeah. For arena fighters, yeah, you had Power Stone, you had, or proto arena fighters would be Power Stone. I guess that Billy and Mandy game. Probably I feel like Enter the Barnyard had one of those. Shrek definitely had one of those. Let's see. The Inuyasha fighting game, one of them was like that. 90% of Bleach was that. Like, that was.
How do we introduce Pink to picnic basket cancels?
Yes. For that we need to first wait for the GBA implementation for Fightcade so we can play Shrek. I forget what it was called, Mod Brawl, but whatever, Mod Brawl or whatever on the GBA.
Shrek Super Slam was the name of the one that everybody plays.
Shrek Super Slam.
People play competitively.
Yeah, that game has a GBA port and it's great. It's a traditional fighter in big quotes, very very large quotes.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I'm just gonna check my list to see what else I've given a try. Or see what there is to make a note of from the stuff that I've given a try, because which that might be it, honestly, because I've spent a lot of time just messing around with the setting up the Dreamcast stuff to work without dropping frames, and it's this weird thing where more or less has come through too. I tried the Naomi version, which is the arcade version. I tried the Dreamcast, which is the home version of the same thing. Like, it's the Naomi. May I remind you that the Naomi is literally just a Dreamcast. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, the reason that there are so many Dreamcast ports of fighting games is because they were made for the Naomi system, and for all I know, after that, all they had to do to make it a home port is just make a menu system, put a new wrapper, maybe not even that.
Maybe.
Because like there's this thing.
Those Dreamcast games did feature a lot of actually like primitive online multiplayer though.
Yeah, because the Dreamcast's big thing was online multiplayer. Like, Fantasy Star
would take years before they even vaguely got to the idea of online multiplayer with PS2 games, and even then it didn't really catch on.
Yeah. Comparatively, Fantasy Star Online, the first one on Dreamcast, I believe is still running.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Phantasy Star Online is one of those things that exists quietly in the background, and the people that are into it are crazy for it, and for everybody else, it's entirely irrelevant.
Well, I'm not even talking about the game. I'm saying that I think the Dreamcast might still be able to link up with it.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is the wild part to me. But then similarly, I've seen a video recently of there's this. If you I saw someone buy a Dreamcast and set it up with internet now and with modern internet and all that to work. And the wild thing is, if you trick the Dreamcast into thinking that it's working off of all dial-up and stuff like that, it actually works. And if you connect to the internet, it puts you on a Sega on official Sega forums that still runs. Like people were making posts when this video was made, and this was made like 3 years ago.
It will never die. We've tried to kill it. We've tried.
Yeah.
In Sega's basement, they just have this monstrous server that just sends out wires every now and then to eat other servers.
Yeah.
It's slowly growing, and they're just locking it in the basement and hoping that one day it'll stop being a thing.
But yeah, so I also played a lot of CVS 2. Just to get a feel for it again. Boy, CVS 2 is great.
Yeah,
I need to figure out if I want to play the Dreamcast version, which is in Japanese, or if I want to play the Naomi version, which is in English but doesn't have a menu, because I want to eventually potentially make a groove where I can run and that's it. Honestly, like I want to be able to run and also not have to do the max mode bullshit.
Well, the CVS2 is also a really weird one in terms of running has its advantages, but at the same time, there are several characters in CVS2 where if you choose to pick a ism that has running instead of jumping, you're missing out on mix-up possibilities.
Yeah.
Because Balrog in particular is one character who his dash has him hop through the air. And if he does it while he's right next to a downed opponent, then he will very quickly side switch. So Balrog in particular, and there's a couple other characters, but Balrog's the one I remember distinctly. Balrog in particular has a partly exclusive to him and just a few other characters wake up mix up of you don't know which side he's going to hit you on, so he can cross you up without jumping.
But yeah, like the problem for me is that like when I first played CVS 2, I played all of the Capcom fighters. I was used to dashing and stuff like that. Like, you know, I was used to just dashing in and doing stuff that way and just, you know, walking. Since then, I played a lot more KOF and a lot more Guilty Gear, both of which feature running. Yeah. I need to run. I cannot do these small increments anymore. I need to be in your face right now.
Well, you know what's the weirdest one, right?
What?
In Marvel 2, that is a dash game, except for Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos in Marvel 2 has a run instead of a dash, and it's just him.
He's trying to lose weight.
Oh god, Marvel 2 Thanos is chunky. Like, Marvel 2 Thanos is weird to play just in general because Marvel Infinite Thanos exists and is so much more fleshed out and interesting to play. Marvel 2 Thanos, though, is just funny just because he's so chunky and he's such a just kind of bad sprite. Marvel 2 Thanos, I think, is one of the worst sprites Capcom made. Past Street Fighter 2, of course. Past Street Fighter 2. I think he's one of their very worst. And he looks so out of place put on a roster featuring a game with a lot better sprites all over the roster, and then he's right there and he looks so bad. You know?
Yeah. The one thing that I wanted to really note here is that both on Naomi and on Dreamcast, because they're using the same method to play the games, there is an option that I'm not sure you've come across, but you can make the games widescreen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can enable an option that makes it so the parts that are cut off are no longer cut off, but it doesn't stretch the picture. And
really?
Yes, it introduces bugs and visual problems because obviously the games are designed to work on a 4:3 ratio, but if you're fine with things getting called out, or the parts that you're not supposed to be remaining on screen, or vice versa, things that are supposed to be there not being there and then just coming in from the screen itself, then you can play the games without any stretching in 16:9.
I'll probably look into that some on my own time, obviously, not while we're messing about.
Yeah. And that's the big thing that I wanted to point out, because I played CVS2 with 16:9 aspect ratio, and I was like, man, this feels weird. No, I played Marvel 2 with it too. Marvel 2 fared better. I don't know why, but CVS2 has a thing where it has a lot of like negative space. Even disregarding the calling out of 3D elements, it has a lot of like blank negative space when things are not supposed to be on screen, as well as just other weird glitches that this introduces, which is fine. Like, the game wasn't supposed to run in 16:9, so I understand why it's doing these things. It's just, weird to me that it has that problem, whereas Marvel 2, the weirdest part of Marvel 2 in widescreen is that the HUD remains in 4:3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that's all I have to say about Fightcade, because like, what else can I say about CVS that people don't already know?
What else can you say that we probably won't be saying in the coming weeks?
Yeah, that too. So yeah, I suppose with that, fighting games work, because I didn't really find any topics.
Yeah. If
So,
we
yeah.
can extend this for just a little bit longer so I can finish some clerical work with my Fire Pro before we hop on to Fightcade, that'd be great.
Sure, I'll see if I can find something real quick.
What's the biggest fighting game off PS1 that you would love to see get put on Fightcade?
I mean, most of the PS1 fighting games are already accessible through Dreamcast or arcade versions. Like Plasma Sword, for example. Plasma Sword or I know Plasma Sword through PS1, technically. Well,
Yeah.
I know Plasma Sword through the PSX, which was the arcade version of the PS1. So
Yes.
So yeah, and stuff like that. The biggest one that's missing for me is, as I've said, Rumble Arena, because I need to know if Rumble Arena is actually good, or if it was just shit and I was a kid, which is a very, very, very big possibility.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What was that awful fighting game that was like the first 3D fighter on PS1?
I don't know. If you want yeah.
Not Tokon Battle Arena, was it?
Oh, Tokiden? Not Tokiden. Tokiden. I've played Tokiden relatively recently. It's on the PS1 Classic. Tokiden is just, we have Soul Calibur at home. Which props to it for inspiring Soul Calibur to be better, but
Dude, what was that anime parody game where they just have the Colonel from Metal Gear narrating intentionally bad anime?
I don't know.
Also, we got to consider there's a whole setup of PS1. If they want to ever investigate PS1 and Nintendo 64 stuff, they are evidently putting wrestling games on Fightcade.
True. And yeah, that's the thing.
Taken from Dreamcast and arcade cabinets.
That's the thing, though. Like, if they want to expand into Nintendo 64, I immediately have more answers, because Fighter's Destiny is a series that is usually memed on, and I don't know why. Because, like, sure, it's not an actual like competitive fighter, traditional fighter at all, but it's an early 3D fighting game that works fine. And instead of a health system, it uses a points system. It has fictional judges that judge how you fought and score you based off of that. And it's
that's where I think people would meme on it, because you could do really well, but then you just didn't do enough of X move that the judges really like.
That's the thing, though. It's not a it's a fixed scoring system. It's just like, oh, if you fall down this way, or if you do a throw and the person falls out of bounds because of the throw, it yields 5 points. If you get a knockout, it's 10 points. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's not an
I
arbitrary.
just always think of how fighting games tend to score you at the end of the bit, and it'll go like, yeah, you creamed this guy in a perfect match, but you didn't finish it with a super, so 2 stars.
Yeah, no, it's not an arbitrary system like that. It's more like actual like sports scoring, where it's instead of looking at the quality of the moves they do, it's the manner with which you beat someone. So like if you submit someone, which I believe was a thing, you get like 3 points. If you throw them to the ground, that's 5 points. If you knock them out of bounds, that's 10 points, something like that. And you need like, I want to say 15 points to win the match.
That does sound weird but interesting.
Yeah, like it's not a competitive game at all. Like it's a very fun party fighting game to me. That's why I like those games, because they're very weird and unique. Nothing that I have played has done similar things with the scoring stuff, and that's why I like it, because it's unique. Also, you can play as a cow and it dances. In its arcade ending.
Did you just say you play as a cow that dabs?
Dances.
Dances. Okay, I thought you said dabs. I was like, huh? Say that again, Chief.
Yeah. Like the cast of fighters that is also just the weirdos. Like it's like what if you made a game of Waldo? Just all of it Waldo.
Oh, good God.
Like there's an actual I want to say there's actually like 2 or 3.
You made a fighting game, but the roster is all perverts.
Yeah, no, not in that way. I'm just mean like very weird character designs. Well, even if not moveset wise, just concept wise. So like you have the actual Waldo like people who, or all of them are clowns. There's I think I want to say 3 or 4 clowns in the games that you can play as. There's there's the cow. There's aliens, if memory serves.
Oh no, not the Martians again!
Yeah. Like it's stuff like that where like most of the people
have 2 fighting games that we can play that have the goddamn Martians.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to just learn to get used to the Martians.
Maybe.
Or the Martians are gonna have to get used to me.
Yeah. And then you'll also have the jank if they introduce Nintendo 64 with fighting games. You'll also have the jank of Fighter Maker.
Oh no!
I have played, with big quotation marks, I have played Fighter Maker, and let me tell you, the things you saw, the things you know, the things you heard, they're all true. It sucks.
You don't even know, man.
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Holy God.
I'm just gonna look up a list of PlayStation 1 fighting games. So I can give you an actual answer to your question. Yeah?
Transformers Beast Wars.
Oh.
Yeah, that one was smelly.
Ooh, Bloody Roar was on the PS1.
Oh, that's true.
So that would be cool. Oh, let's see. Just what do you mean? I want to read out this article's name to you, because I am confounded. The 20 best PlayStation 1 games of 2023.
We ain't done yet. We've only just begun.
Yeah. So, there's this game called Warpath, Jurassic Park.
That doesn't shock me.
It is. It is what you imagine from that name. Yes.
What's the game where you're playing as like a big dinosaur that eats people, and the other guy's playing as a gorilla big dinosaur that eats people, and that's a fighting game?
Primal Rage.
Primal Rage, yes, Primal Rage.
That might be on Fightcade already.
I'll pull it up.
All right.
Asthma Blows says if it's edible, hot sauce goes on it.
Yes, I put hot sauce on everything, from Twinkies to milk.
That's right, I eat my milk. Only pussies drink it.
Yeah. There's the game that I was looking for last time, Death Strega. Death Strega success. Capcom should release it even though they have nothing to do with it.
Primal Rage is on Fightcade.
Yeah, nice. Oh, there's a fatality in that game where you piss on the other guy and he dies.
I believe it. That was as was the style at the time.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's this fighting game on the PlayStation 1 called Death Strega. It's Final Fantasy with nothing but OCs. No Cloud, no Sephiroth, no fucking Sid, either version of him, no Kefka, just OCs.
Oh my god. If they did the PS1, that would mean Air Guys, God Bless the Ring.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Top best 20 best fighting games of PlayStation 1. SmackDown, know your role.
Well, that's funny for us because it's like, haha, wrestling games are not fighting games. It's easy to forget that up until Here Comes the Pain, there were all kinds of people who didn't like wrestling but loved wrestling games.
True.
Like nowadays, wrestling games are just for people who are wrestling fans. Back in the day, that was not the case.
Ooh, Bushido Blade. Bushido Blade is a very fun, is another very fun, unique 3D fighting game where, I mean, do I have to introduce Bushido Blade to you? I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
I've seen it.
But yeah, like Bushido Blade is great. It's Bushido Blade is the game of Bushido Blade is the game of functions. That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true, but yeah.
I mean, it's got to be aware of the array of swords and then a machine gun.
Yeah. So this list is immediately wrong because it put Battle Arena Toshinden above Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha.
Yeah. But keep in mind for how many people, especially if there are still some people who would think of 2D sprite-based fighting games as primitive, you know?
I guess. Let me see. I am visiting the only on. Never mind. I thought this would cut it up into what there are 4, but no. So I'm trying to look for a. Okay, 2 things. I was looking for a list of just fighting games caught up by which platform they were on. I didn't find that. I did, however, find that apparently next to BlazBlue, Arxis had a series called BlazBlue. So, you know how BlazBlue is usually spelled BLAZBLUE.
BlazBlue, pretty well.
Yeah. So there's also BlazBlue. BLAYZBLOO. Whereupon they make fun of themselves, I suppose.
Yeah.
Considering that the two games that I'm seeing released after each other, or from it looks like they were. The 2 games that I see similarly released is BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma, also BlazBlue Clone Phantasma.
Oh.
There was also BlazBlue Super Melee Brawlers Battle Royale. Ahead of the time, aren't we?
Oh my god. How?
It was for the Nintendo DS.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah. So I cannot tell you what other PS1 games that I'm looking forward to. I guess Bushido Blade, because that's the one I remember. I guess we could have more. We could get more of Soul Calibur because Soul Edge was on PS1, I believe.
Which, boy, that one would be a trip. I don't think I've ever seen footage of the original Soul Edge.
I have seen footage of it, and I've also played it when I was approximately 1. So
Did it have infinite stages?
I don't think so.
Was it one of the first Bamco fighters then to have an actual stage and
I
not
think
just fighting
so.
on Infinite Sewer?
Yeah, I think so. Like I feel like they made Soul Edge before Tekken 3, and Tekken 3 already had some real stages, if memory serves.
Yeah, and Tekken 2 very much does not.
Yeah. So I believe they made Soul Blade between Tekken 2 and 3, and then after that, obviously, with Soul Calibur had real stages. Soul Calibur 2 did have real stages as well. So yeah.
Soul Calibur 1 also just doesn't look bad for its time at all.
Yeah.
Like Soul Cal 2 and 3 are obviously prettier games, but Soul Cal 1 was very good for its time, visually.
I need to look up if Soul Edge and Soul Blade are separate games. Because I feel like they might be. So, yes, Soul Edge was for the PS1 and arcade. Alright, okay. The PlayStation version. Okay, the arcade version is Soul Edge. The PlayStation version is Soul Blade.
Weird.
I'm not sure why. I guess Edge was too edgy on him. Haha.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose the fighting games were then, because I don't really know what. Wait, what they also put in something else that they're working on. Fightcade did.
Fighting games were and will be.
Yes, potentially in the future.
Oh.